the game. In my mind, they saying they can remember your name. If they love you, it's cool. Give them a reason to hate you. I ain't chasing the fame. You gonna remember my name.
Hello. Hello. Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Candid Conversations. I don't know what just happened, but okay. I'm your host, Kyra. We kind of late, but that's nothing unusual. So we're going to get this started because we're late. So let's bring on Mr. Roshan Davis.
What was that, like a glitch in the matrix? What happened? What's going on?
I have no idea what just happened. I don't know.
Ah,
Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm on a lag or something. I don't know.
it's like a little glitch. Hey, everybody, how are you? I've got Thanksgiving coming up. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. After that, get you shopping. I'll wear size 12 in sneakers in boots and double XL because I'm 6'5". So whatever you guys want to do for Black Friday, don't knock yourself out. Don't look for anything, reciprocal because it's not coming back. It's just going to be a one-way gift. And I
I don't
appreciate
think
it.
that's right.
All right, we ain't worrying about what you think. This is about my selfishness.
That's not right. If you're not going to reciprocate, that's not right.
All right, let's see what happens. Throw it out there. See what happens.
Exactly.
Give me a bigger glass because Kara got me a glass that only. Never mind.
That's all you needed. That's all you needed. You all right.
Next up,
Oh, you introducing?
no.
And everybody know we can't do this without Mr. the newly married, the newlywed, Mr. Deacon, Derek the Deacon.
Hello?
Hello?
It's another glitch in the matrix.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm trying to figure out what happened with Cat. You pop a new intro. She ain't tell nobody in the new intro. I thought somebody hacked our system. now we are a rap mogul group. yo, get Candy.
That is a temporary
Candy comes
intro.
Yeah.
That is a temporary intro for now. Thank you very much.
Yo.
It's a temporary intro for now. Until I fix the other one.
I'll be like,
You were supposed to do that. I can't with you. And we have a guest co-host. She has been on our show before. She is related to two people on this show. So let's introduce my sister,
My
Roshan's cousin.
Favorite cousin.
Cousin. The favorite don't gotta be there. Okay. Let's bring on Tasha.
That's Natasha. But
Oh,
hi, how you doing?
Tasha.
It say Natasha. It say it right there in the corner.
It
Your
does.
name is Natasha,
Exactly. You said Tasha.
but we call you Tasha.
No, I don't know why. That's not my name.
Your
Let it
name is
begin.
Tasha.
It's not my government
This,
name.
this is what happens when you with siblings. Okay, we fuss.
I ain't fussing. I'm just telling you how to say my name right.
Say her
I
name.
know
Say
how
her
to
name.
say your name.
Didn't say it right.
I
Kyra
did, Tasha.
or Katiana Shakira.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We don't
Didn't say
don't
my name.
don't do that. We ain't throwing out governments over here. Don't do that.
I like my government name.
It ain't everybody business what my real name
Well, they know it now unless you edit this.
is.
I like
All
this.
right, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I hope everybody had a wonderful, beautiful day. We are going to jump into Roshawn Davis's topic, which is misogyny versus misandry. So, Roshawn, let us please enlighten us about this topic.
Hold up, ain't no videos, no nothing. You just gonna throw me to the wolves like
No, we
that?
got yes, we got videos. We're gonna throw some videos in there, but first let us know about the topic.
What is that?
Can be a versus for one. It's just the thought process on misogyny. That gets a lot of attention. Gets a lot of attention. But I've been in spaces where we talk about misandry, and a lot of people don't even know that that exists. Um, when obviously we know that it exists. So just wanted to have a healthy discussion uh, about it, so we can address some topics. Because one thing that got me to brainstorming was um, in the woods. Who would you rather be in the woods with, a bear or a black man? And there was a lot of people like, I'd rather be in the woods with a bear. I'm like, this is getting real bad.
That is bad.
This is getting real bad. If you really believe that you'd be okay in the woods with a bear versus a man, then we got a problem. And I even asked a young woman that question, and she asked me, "Well, what the man doing in the woods?" And I was like, "What you doing in the woods? Why is it okay for you to be in the woods, but a man ain't being? It's not okay for a man to be in the woods." I even saw a flyer one time that says, "Young man with a young woman. They had a party or they hanging out, and both of them were inebriated. They were drunk. In the morning, the young woman said that she didn't consent to sex. And the cops came and locked the young man up. And it was like, was that okay?" And everybody was like, no, it's not okay. He should be locked up. And I'm like, well, wasn't they both inebriated? So now it's a thing of one side being considered versus the other side. Because if they both were drunk, then how was one person being locked up and not the other? I was one able to say, I was taken advantage of, and the other one wasn't able to say I was taken advantage of. And before we even get into it, I wanted to have a disclaimer anyway by saying, I want everybody to understand, just because we talk about misandry, it doesn't create an environment that hates women. We can talk about the mistreatment of men without thinking that it's a hatred of women. Is Men are human beings as well. Men deserve to be treated well. Not just when it's your son or your nephew or your cousin or your brother. And it doesn't have to be attached to the bashing or the hatred of women. I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe in that. And I believe that we can have a healthy discussion about what misandry is, which is the hatred of men, and not look to bashing women, or it attacks women to speak about the negativity that happens to men.
Okie dokie. All right. Derek, you want to throw on one of the videos?
Oh, now you want to throw on a video? I don't even know what video.
Yes.
I don't even know which video to go with because it might be a new music video that you're working on.
Femininity. Do you agree that there's toxic femininity as well?
I mean, I think it's an unfair double standard.
Why?
Well,
how can femininity not be toxic if masculinity can?
I'm not saying they can't be.
Do we teach kids about toxic femininity in our schools? No, tell me yes or no.
I mean, I think that they come from two very different places. I think toxic masculinity comes from a level of misogyny, where I think toxic femininity often comes from a reaction to a misogynistic system which fundamentally oppresses and systematically oppresses women. And I'm not saying that toxic femininity is a good thing, but I'm saying it's a much more understood and valid reaction to a system of oppression versus toxic masculinity, which oppresses.
Okay. So, even if I grant you that,
Do you think that's true on what he says?
Who you asking?
That you.
You asking me that? Oh, I'm up again. All right. In the eyes of fairness, no, I think he was catering to one side, because you can actually frame a set of questions the same way to the same, to different genders, which he didn't. He labeled one side oppression versus the other side was something different, which both sides can be oppressed, whether it's a 10 or a 5. Doesn't mean that there's not oppression on the other side. You can address the oppression at the same time as talking about whether one side is oppressed more than the other. So I don't fully agree with that. I think a lot of times a lot of guys are speaking towards the audience for clicks and likes and stuff like that, without actually speaking about the ills that men actually go through, because we can talk about the ills that men actually go through and it'll get flipped that maybe some women go through more, without addressing that. Just because we can address that, we can have that conversation. Just because women go through certain things more doesn't mean that we can't address the ills that those men in that pool is actually going through. I mean, so I think the answer was a bit. I mean, I get it. I understand it. I think it speaks to the topic. One was viewed as accurate and victimized, and the other one was just speaking back to the women being victimized. And it was like, I don't know about that one. Some men go through some stuff without, it's like reverse racism. I mean, some men go through things just as a victim. There's nice guys in the world that go through things that don't put out negative energy, that don't victimize women, that don't batter or bash women, and they're attacked and they're abused physically, and verbally, and emotionally, and financially. Like we saw a video where some men are attacked financially, and we can speak about that without it being reversed on them like it's their fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you got it.
When you say financially, what do you mean?
I've seen like there's a video that's going to come on later where some young women they lead with wanting to um attack men financially. They lead with that. You know, how you doing? What's your name? I want to get to know you. Well, can you pay my bills? I mean, we don't look at that as an attack financially. We look at it as just a conversation or something like that. But if I'm trying to get to know you as a man, and I'm just saying, hey, you know, how you doing? What's your name? You know, can I take you out? It's like, oh, well, I've seen videos to whereas, you know, some women stated even just to talk to me, you got to cash at me.
What?
Yeah. Just to even talk to me, to get my phone number, you got to cash at me.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, but it happens, and that's the point. Like a lot of us don't even realize that a lot of this stuff happened, maybe because we ain't in those spaces. But as soon as we talk about, you know,
How does that has that happened to you?
does it happen to me? No, I'm not in the dating scene.
Do you know anyone that's happened to?
Absolutely.
So how does that work? You approach the woman and she's like, "Hi, cash at me." I mean, like, how does that work? Did they say?
Hey, like I said, hey, how you doing? You know, I saw you. You look good. Whatever. You know, I want to get to know you. Or can I take you out and such and such? Well, you know, well, to get to know me, you know, you either gonna have to, you know, you take me shopping or cash at. Like it happens. I've seen it in a lot of cases where it happens like that. But
do men comply? Do they do it?
not the men that I know, because a men, you know, you got some men, you got some men that will, you know, oblige that. You know, they will trick that off and be like, all right, whatever. I mean, but a lot of men, you know, that value themselves, you know, that know their worth.
So would you call that transactional? Not a relationship. It sounds like a transaction.
Of course it's transactional. But the gall to even feel that it's okay to do that. Because first, before it becomes a transaction or even a conversation, you gotta feel, you know, that it's okay to do that.
Well, they must have. I'm thinking if a woman is doing that, then they must have men that are complying with that transaction.
Yeah.
So a man could say, "Nope, you're not for me. Moving on,"
Yeah.
or they like, "Okay, that's not a relationship. That's a transaction." And I don't even know if
That's what I
that's
said.
We as men have created this monster, right?
Some
Because
of us, yeah, some of us have.
right, but I'm gonna just we're gonna just take this on the chin as mankind. We created the
Not doing
monster.
that.
We created the monster. That it became the norm. It's the norm now. It's what's accepted. And if more men would not accept it, it wouldn't be the norm. Women, you have I just shared a video with y'all. I forgot the two ladies' name. Karen would probably know 'em, but they started a whole thing about asking men for money, right? That was their thing. They were the front ladies of doing that piece. And even years later, they look back and one of them says, "Listen, I'm gonna ask him for what I want, and if he can't give me what I want, then he's not the Negro for me." It's a mindset, but it has to. Somebody had to first oblige, and when you have enough men to oblige these things, then you have a bunch of women who says, "Okay, this is the norm. Do this. Find you a man for." I think she called them the double B's or big baller B's or something like that. Get you a big baller B or whatever. This is the mindset.
BDB.
I thought that was something else for women. But so for some women, I know some women who are at a certain financial bracket, right? And so they'll say they feel as though they have achieved like that six-figure salary, and so they want the same caliber of men. It's that's just how they feel. I know that's that type. Because at my age, I'm a whole lot older, and I'm wondering, is there an age difference? Is there a generational difference where this is taking place and happening? Because I'm not I have not done that to to men to be like, you need my number to do blah, blah, blah. And I don't know any women or friends of mine that do that either. So is that a younger generation? Is
I
that
think the answer that even in the same clip, as I was going to say to Derek, even in the same clip, that same woman said that she did that when she was younger, but now that she's older, she view things differently.
Yeah, that was only one of them.
Yes, that's why I said that same woman.
Right.
Yeah, that same woman. I mean, so she said now that she see things differently. So yeah, some people evolve and they get more mature and they see that maybe leading with that will get you a certain type of man. You know what I mean? Because just because a man will give you money don't mean that he care for you as a human being.
I don't think that's a relationship. I think it's a transactional. Uh,
Situation.
yeah, that's it. I mean, and
Yeah.
if that's what you want, and that's fine between two consenting adults, then okay. But I think everybody else, you could just say that's not my person.
Yeah, and you get what you get, and you can't complain about it later. Because if I'm a millionaire, you know that $1,000 don't mean as much to me. But if I'm a thousandaire, you know, and I'm a man that even if I'm 6-figure man and I'm a 9 to 5er, you know, maybe that 1,000 mean a little more to me. You know, so giving you that money, you know, is a little different. You know, that millionaire probably look at it like it's not like it's nothing.
Mhm.
But that sacrifice for me may mean a little bit more because, you know, it's more of a sacrifice.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't look at it that way. They just
because I
want
think
that.
about no, I hear you. Because I think about DMX when he says, you expect what you expect from how people are, right? A thief, you expect them to be a thief, right? If they're a snake, you expect them to be a snake. So I always kept that mantra because it just kept me. I knew what to expect from people. If you show me who you are, I'm not going to expect you to be any more or less than what you show me. So if I'm meeting a woman, you meeting someone and they're like, I want you to pay my bills, and then you don't have that money anymore, don't expect them to change because it's always been that way. I mean, that's how you met. Those were the rules, like, of engagement. Like, I remember I was watching a video, and this man, it was really sad, and his wife was leaving him because he couldn't keep up with, the mortgages, the cars, and she said, I'm leaving. I'm taking the kids. We going to my mother's, my parents. You can't come. But whose fault is that? You married her that way.
Now, sidebar. Let me ask you this because I stated the whole bear versus black man in the woods. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've seen that, and I deal with the black man. I'm saying, well,
But what now? I want to know because I know you, and I know how that you're a rational thinking person. Like, what do you think about that as far as how a lot of women are picking the bear?
I don't know why they picking that bear. That bear gonna tear him up and eat him and make him dinner. So I don't know why. I don't know the logic, but for me, I'd rather deal with the man, and in that way we could catch the bear, and we could eat the bear until help come to get us out them woods. That's logical to me. Uh, a man is a protector, but then it goes. A man and a woman can protect each other. It just counts on the scenario and the situation, things like that. But I don't know why they would touch the bear. I don't know.
Because it's not. I think it's more leaving a bear alone. If you don't bother the bear don't bother you. So if I'm in the
That ain't
woods,
true.
But the bear still sees you as me. A
Yeah,
bear, if you
ain't
really,
that ain't true.
a bear is a predator, isn't it? It's gonna, if it's hungry, isn't it gonna look for food?
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
food.
you done. I think that's just the mindset on how some people look at, you know, black men. I know it's probably used as an analogy or a theory, but like when I was talking to the young woman, I was like kind of blown back, and she was very, very adamant about it. She was very, and then she was like, "What is a black man doing in the woods?" And I was like, "What are you doing in the woods?"
Yeah.
He was like, "I was hunting." I was like, "He was hunting too." And there was another. It was another video that I seen recently. It was a white woman on a trail, and she went live. And she got her phone up, and she was like, "I just want everybody to know that I'm walking on a trail, and the trail is one way, and for some reason, there's a man that's following me." And the man heard her, and he was like, "Yeah, dummy. Yeah, I'm following you. I'm following you because it's one way in the trail and one way out the trail, and I'm walking the trail just the same as you walking the trail."
Mm-mm.
And he just walked right by her, and he was like, "Ah, this is amazing." And he just kept going. And I'm like, maybe it's because of what you've been through. You place that on everybody else. And a lot of people do that in relationships.
So I think with that, you always have to be conscious of your surroundings, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's probably what she was doing. She I don't, she put a camera out for her own safety. She said something that he heard that was not appropriate. But I don't see anything wrong with her pulling that camera out for because she's alone on a path.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have said what she said, but she did. She was thinking what she was thinking. Like even we could be sitting in a restaurant, and I know some men where I'm sitting there eating, and I'm like do 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 do, and then the guy is like, okay, there's exits over here, over there. That man look kind of suspicious. Y'all always on protect mode. Sometimes I think that's in any environment where you're with someone. You're like even when I'm alone, I'm looking at everybody. I'm observing to see if anything and anywhere I'm at happens. Where are the exits? That one look a little bit too suspicious. Why he look like he's staring at me? It's just, it's just. I was brought up in Patterson. I watch my surroundings. So, I don't know if that's a gender thing or whatever, but
I mean, ultimately, I would think that it's of course it's a gender thing. But I think as far as abuse versus protection, because that's what I stated to the young woman, and she was like, "Well, women are, abused by men at this percentage. Women are killed by men at this percentage." And I was like, that's a small percentage of men. And you also can look at women are also protected by men. The majority of your military, the majority of your police force, the majority of your firemen, the majority of the majority of them are men. So why don't you look at the men in a positive aspect, just as well as you look at them in that? And I know, the negative sometimes override the positive. But I said the numbers are staggering to whereas, when you're looking at misandry and women that attach themselves to that men make up a high percentage of a lot that makes the world go round, that makes your life easy. And I can go into I wrote down a lot of the statistics, but I think I'll read that a little later. But my point is, the same way that some women feel that men make their life hard, a lot of men make your life safe and easy as well.
but women could do the same. So
But they
like,
don't. So I mean,
but
the
they do.
courage.
No, there's
No,
a lot of women who are like they're the breadwinners in the home or in the relationship, and they're taking care of men.
yeah, that's gonna all that's and I tell Kyra that all the time. Of course, there's some, but in every in every race or ethnic, whatever, the man is the breadwinner over the woman.
I don't agree with that. I
If you
think it
look at the
might.
numbers,
I think. I think
I'm
it might
not.
be. I think it might be 50-50, but there and see, you were able to do your homework on that. But I know
Yeah,
that there's a percentage of women who are CEOs, executives, and
yeah,
whatnot, and they're
absolutely,
the ones who are
absolutely,
taking.
and
I
they're
mean, if it's equal, the man has a job too, or career as well.
absolutely, and they're in the numbers already. But let's say, like right now, the average black man makes $55,000 a year. The average black woman makes around $49,000 a year. That's on average. Of course, there's some that's going to make more, but when you look at the averages in every race, the man makes more than the women. And I'm not here to to
Oh,
dispute
I
that.
know you, but that's not our fault though. That's a whole other topic
I'm
because
just giving
that's
you,
a
yeah,
societal.
I'm just giving you the numbers. Yeah, that could be another topic another day, but I'm just giving you the numbers. In every race, the man makes more than the woman. Now, just to go off of, because I was going to read it later. Now, Derek, if you don't mind, when I said that, um, just the respect for men, because I think there has been a lack of respect for men. And when I state that, men are in places to make our lives easier, I jotted down a couple numbers, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, 93.6 of steel workers are men, 99% of carpenters, 96.2% of coal miners, 86.3% of engineers, 96.4% of car mechanics, 98.5% of people in construction, 83.2% of police, 82.2% of farmers, 95% of garbage truck workers, 92.1% of fishing boat workers, 90% of landscapers, 90.9% of pilots, 92% of firefighters, 79.5% of inventors, 85% of the military, 98.6% of truck drivers, 95.4% of cable installers, 88.7% of armored truck drivers, and 97% of roughnecks. Not saying that women can't do the job. I'm saying the jobs that's being done is done by men.
So,
So the respect for the world that when you driving over a bridge,
mhm.
the architects, the engineers, the builders are men.
So when
The
you're
car that
giving,
you're driving was built majority by men. The mechanics that fix these cars, the majority of them are men. So I think the lack of respect for men that you deal with personally trickles over to what men actually do in the world. Because men do a lot in this world that we don't even respect them for.
so
Well,
I,
I think,
go ahead.
yeah, that was a let's when we talk about that's just the original makeup of things. Men were they were expected to go out and do and take on these professions, where women were more considered um the delicate kind, and they were raised to say they're supposed to make a home and do those things while the men were supposed to do these things. So of course, you
I don't agree with that.
how can you not when that's just from the beginning of time? How can
The
you
reason why,
men have been they have we have been wired to go into these forms of business. We are wired to go into to do these things. That's the whole idea. You don't have women, you don't today you might have more women saying go to college, become a CEO and do that thing, do all that stuff. But we talking about traditionally, women were supposed to find a husband, have children, and make a home, and men were supposed to go out and be the breadwinners. So they were supposed to do all these jobs. So traditionally, now today, no, you have women who are being taught differently or who are choosing to do differently. Who say, "I don't want to.
I like how you said that. I like how you said that.
I no longer want to be a part of that status quo. I can do more than just lay on my back and produce babies. So I'm
Not
going to
that part,
move."
but yeah.
So so when we throw out those numbers, we have to understand that those numbers came from a time where, I mean, that comes back or starts back traditionally from a time where that's what the expectation was.
Now, if you don't mind, the reason why I disagree is because there's an influx and a high level of women that enter, uh, college, right? You have a high enrollment in college, but if you look at the numbers of what those degrees are in, they're in humanities, they're in social work, they're in certain things like that. Um, a lot of women can choose, like that's like my daughter. My daughter chose to go into STEM. She's an engineer. Let's say our women, I think black women in engineering is probably 1% of the field. And black men are a little higher, but it's not to the level of what we all would like. So we can't say traditionally, but then now, a lot of our women are enrolling in college at high levels, but they're choosing degrees that, is not a part of the conversation that I'm talking about, because it's a choice now. It's a choice now. You can choose to do certain jobs and careers. You can choose to take on certain degrees. STEM is very broad. Science, technology, engineering, and math. It's a big field. And that's why I was proud of my daughter for going into STEM, because not only do you make good money, but you help change the world. And a lot of our sisters, like I said, they go into humanities, they go into criminal justice, they go into social work, you know, and I believe, like, even with teachers, I believe teachers should get paid more, just as well as firemen. I
I
believe
think in
that.
your data though, you never you in your data you didn't name teachers and you didn't name nurses either.
Yeah,
And those,
because I'm talking about men.
but I thought you were
Those are
talking
those are
about
fields.
what
Those
were
are
what race. I mean, I'm sorry, what gender was in one type of job than another. And the jobs that you did talk about, no, normally women aren't in those, because if you think about it, if I wanted to be a mechanic, I wanted to go to school to be, or I went to trade school to be a mechanic, what are the odds of me getting hired to be a mechanic versus men? Because there's a lot of bias towards women when they want to go into those different professions. Like your daughter, my cousin, she wants to be into a STEM engineer. It is she's gonna go through a lot of bias just because she's a woman. A man is gonna get paid more. People are going to feel as though the men know more than her. She's gonna have to work 100 times more.
yeah, I don't know about that, but
She is.
no,
She
meaning
is.
that men know more than her.
No, because if men are the ones, because you just said it, men
No, they
if
know
men
they know more of each other. They know more of each other.
it's not gonna work like that. Men think that men, if they're the lead, it's happening right now. Like even as we speak, for nurses, we have an administration that is saying that's not a profession
That's
anymore.
terrible too. Yeah,
They're not
that's
considered a
that's horrible.
profession. And I believe that's gonna happen to other positions as well. It might happen to teachers. It might happen in education. I don't think that's the last one. That's just the first one.
Now, just to go off of that, I mean, you can look at it. Let's say you have policemen, firemen, pilots, military, right? That's all civil
You have
service.
women. You have women
That's
that do those
that's
things.
all, but it's they're extreme minority. But
Right,
it's a choice.
because of societal, because of how society, because I'm gonna go back to what Deacon was trying to say. It's due to society norms that have made it that way back to the 30s. women couldn't even go into the workforce until all men were recruited into the army, and there were no men to take those positions, and they made women do it. Then when the men came back, they expected those women to go right back in the house and have them babies, and they were like, no. We had a whole women's rights that we had to go through, which did not include
I'm
black
glad.
women.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Now that you done went into women's rights, and now the military opens up, and police opens up, and fire opens up, and all of these things open up, you still get a small amount that chooses
Because
to go.
some women do not
So
want to go through the bias, and they do not want to go through the fact that they are going to
what,
be paid less than men for the
that's
same
false.
jobs.
That's false.
So it's not.
I just said you got. I said civil service, right? I said civil service, police, fire,
If you
military.
have data that runs police officers between men and women, you will find that men get paid more than the women who are police officers.
That's 100% false. I'm a
No,
fireman.
it's not. And
Hold
they
on,
have. I could go through. I could do a grok right now and find that data.
wait. I'm a fireman in the city of Patterson,
So
right?
how many women are fired?
It's
Women.
a huge minority
Why?
because they choose not to become firefighters
Okay, I'm gonna go. Why do they choose not to be firefighters?
because they don't want to do firefighting. Who
Why
wants
don't
to
they
run
want
in?
to?
Hold on, wait.
Why
Let me
don't
answer.
they want to?
Because a lot of women don't want to run into burning buildings and
How do you
be.
know? See right there that they shouldn't be saying that. I wouldn't be saying
No, ask
that. You
them.
know, not running.
Ask women, but to go
Fuck
towards your.
women.
Hold up, but to answer your question, firefighters and police, and when you're talking about civil service, you're on a tier system. It's not like you. We don't go into a room. We don't go into a room with a boss and say, "I want a raise." That's not how it works. When you hit year 10, you get paid a certain amount of money. Tier 11, a certain amount of money. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way up to 20, you get paid a certain amount of money, no matter what the gender is. So when you're dealing with civil service, is a tier system.
So let
It's
me
not
ask
a
you
thing like I don't have to go. I don't have to go in an office and say, "Hey,
this.
I want a raise."
Let me ask you this. Let's say they're
But
advertising
but
for
first, do
people
we
to
first do
be
we
a
understand that?
firefighter, right?
Wait,
Who
first,
you think
first,
gonna be in them commercials and on them posters? Not
no, I
women.
get it. I get it. I get it. What I'm saying to you is what you were saying was false. As far as what you were saying is false, as far as in civil service, that men make more than women. It's not a gender thing. It's not an individual thing where you go in and ask for a raise. It's a tier system that no matter who you are, I've never
So
had to hold
okay.
up. I've never had to go
I
and
hear what
ask.
you're saying. I hear what you're
I've,
saying.
I've never
But
had to go
what
and ask.
if those women can't get to those tiers due to bias in the workplace?
Like what? Like I don't understand what you're saying. Once you become
What
a
I'm saying
fireman, let me
is,
answer you. Let me
can
answer
they
you.
even become firemen? They're not. They
Yeah.
don't even advertise for women to become firemen. I've never
Who
seen.
don't? Who don't?
I've never. When I look at fire, when I look at police, no, when I look at fire advertising, I see men in helmets and they climbing the thing and the music is going. Or if a poster, there's men. I've not seen one for
No,
women.
there's like the 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 publications that we throw
Let's
out.
look at your website. What's the Patterson Fireplace? I'm gonna look at it right now, and let's see what's sitting on there.
Yeah, you'll see Joe. You'll probably see Janice, but it's definitely an abundance of men. But we present that to women as well. When I go into any class, and Derek, you if you can agree, if I go into any class or if I go to speak to any children, I make sure Janice is right there with me. I make sure.
That's great. I think that's great that you do that.
I make sure she is right there with me. But what I'm saying is, even with us going out and them seeing Janice and them seeing Joanna and them seeing all of the women that work for the Patterson Fire Department, what I'm saying to you is there's a lot of young ladies that we talk to. They don't want the job because of what the job is.
Or could it be that they don't see other women who are at those positions. There's just a lot of societal norms that women are not able, they don't have the opportunity. They don't
They do
see
have the opportunity. They have the opportunity.
I think it's more than that. I think you have to
I
have
tell you,
more.
I take
Like,
Janice with me all the time.
like
Janice,
a firefighter walk path thing, and it's like an image, but the silhouette is a silhouette of two men. Health and fitness, walk with the firefighter. There's two men, that the silhouette, not a woman.
no, Janice,
That you're not
Beth,
wrong.
Beth, Joanna, they're always there. Beth is a captain. She's the first captain of the fire. She's the first captain of the fire department. She's the first captain in the history of Patterson.
That is great. How long?
Joanna, hold up.
Can I ask
Joanna,
a question?
Let me just say this and you can have it. Joanna was just presented by Mayor Andre Saya as the first woman to be put into a rescue company. And he put it right there on Front Street. I'm the first African American. Hold up. I'm the first African American in United States history to have to be named National Firefighter of the Year. I wasn't invited into the mayor's office, but she was. Because she was the first woman in a rescue company in Patterson. And I understand it. So it's being promoted. It's just a lot of women,
How long that took? How long has the Patterson?
I'm not disputing that. The one thing that I had to challenge you on is how we're paid, which was false. All of us get paid on a tier system. Yes, all of us get paid on a tier system. No man like me.
I got you.
Yes, no woman that.
What I'm saying is, do women have the opportunity?
The opportunity is there as if you take the opportunity.
I don't know. I mean, are there programs for women to adjust?
Wait. You got to understand what I just said. The opportunity is there. The opportunity is there. Everybody can go and pick up. Everybody can sign an application. Everybody can, go take a test. To be a Patterson fireman, all you have to do, a firewoman, fireman, whatever, all you have to do is take a test, pay your $35, and that's it. So the opportunity is there.
So if it's there, why don't more women sign up? And don't say it's because
from me talking to women in the city of Patterson. And I talk to, different classes, I go and talk to different students. A lot of the young ladies that's in these classes, they don't want to be firefighters.
Why?
You're maybe because it's a very strenuous job.
Other things are strenuous, and why do they think
I'm just answering your questions. I can only answer your questions on how you give it to me. I'm answering your questions.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
And it's kind of not talking about like, but the fire people or whatever, but my thing or my yes, fire people, because it's men and women, so it's fire people. But my question is this: do you think, and this is to everybody, do you think that this Misandry versus misogyny whole thing is just about power and about who's the leader? Because just like Derek has said previously, women were meant to be, the homemakers, get married, take care of the kids, and blah blah blah, and that's what's supposed to be our role. And men were the providers, went out and worked and did their part in that manner. Now, in this day and age, women have more rights. They are doing more. They are saying that they're getting married later, starting families later because they want to, get their career started and things like that. And sometimes you can't do that because even if you do live or have a 2-family parent home, is very hard when you start having children, because somebody has to be at home to make sure the kids is taken care of, and the house is taken care of, and the husband is taken care of. So is it more of a power thing? Because women are now stepping more out into the forefront to say, I'm not going to be the housewife. I'm not going to just be a mother and a wife and take care of my husband. I want to have a life. I want to have a career. I want to do the same things. And men are, and it's just not being accepted. Is it a power trip?
To speak to that, I believe that it's, you know, your sister addressed that a little bit as far as what the access is, because now women have more access in society as far as what they want to do. Um, uh, Being able to go to school, being able to go to trade schools, college, and all of these different things. As far as the power and the imbalance, I like that you ventured into that, because I think that the flip side of that, let's say within the power, there's a huge injustice in the justice system,
Mm-hmm.
and social work system, like all of those different systems. I think that, of course, there's more women that report a lot of things, because if men speak on abuse, they're labeled a punk or they're not taken serious.
I agree
I
with
mean,
that.
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
I think they cater to women more when you're talking about social services, when you talk about abuse. And just to read off some things, it says, like, even in 2020, 1.6 million women reported abuse versus 757,000 men. In 2021, out of 238 refuge spaces for abuse, only 58 was committed for men. So they don't really cater to men the same way that they cater to women. Maybe it's because men, you know, when they report it, it's not taken seriously, or it's not even looked at. But at the same time as that, um, I think is a study from natural.com. A study showed, in regards to the context, a query online on misogyny on Google Scholar, Scopus, and Web of Science produced 150,000 results and records studied versus 19.6 thousand for misandry, for studies and articles and publications. So they create more articles and publications on misogyny versus misandry. So
And I can agree with that.
there's more to read about. There's more that flood our internet spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And it was even further. It said Digital Info World stated, a survey says 30% of Gen Z adults who use social media stated they begin to feel negatively about men uh, than women. 22% stated about women.
That's a sociology issue.
No,
That's a social issue. Yeah.
my point is what's promoted. What's
Well, yeah.
promoted. The negativity that's done to men isn't reported the same way that is for women. Like, if you look at exonerated criminals, you know, in United States.
So, Sean, if you're saying men and women are treated differently, yeah, we are.
No, meaning, no, I'm not talking about just treated. I'm talking about reported, because that's why I just brought up exonerated
That's the
criminals.
same thing.
No, like you take, like I was saying, black men are the most
Okay, but
exonerated. Black men are the most exonerated people in the United States. Black men mostly only report psychological abuse from their partners. 1 out of 4 men, 25%, claim domestic violence from their partners.
Because it's societal norms. It's not, the society is
And
not.
that's why I was saying to you, there's a flip side of that coin.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking about men,
I agree with that. I mean, I know, like, for men, like with breakups, women, it's accepted for women to talk about breakups. But for you all, it really isn't. Y'all gonna be called simps or whatever. But I think breakups are just as bad for you all as it is for women.
Of
It's
course,
just
like
not an accepted, or it's not even accepted. It's not widely seen.
yes, even when you speak on divorce,
Correct.
even when you speak on divorce, a man, you know, let's say in this day and age, a man could be a stay-at-home dad,
That's
right? And they get a divorce. If a man is given, you know, alimony and child support, he's looked at as a punk and a chump.
He is.
Definitely not.
He is.
Then I think you're just proving my point.
He is.
Because if we're talking equality, right? And
But the world isn't equal.
of course the world isn't equal. You're proving my point by saying he's a chump, but she isn't.
I didn't say she was either. All I said was, see, you only asked me the question about the man, and I responded.
I
If
didn't
you
ask
asked
the
me
question.
about
I just made a statement. I didn't ask the
okay,
question. I just made a
responded
statement.
to the statement about the man. If you said the woman, I would have responded to the statement about her too. If
But
y'all
in
both
society,
making money, if you both making money, then you whatever you come into the relationship, that's what you
But
need to be taken out.
now in society now, where we're pushing, where men are equal, women are equal, we're all equal.
But even if you look at celebrities, a lot of men, Offset and Cardi B, Kelly Clarkson and her ex-husband.
But to ask you the question, if we're in this as a society that we're all, you know, are aiming to be equal, right? But a man is now a stay-at-home dad, you know, and they take Holly Berry and all of these people, like we said, and now he's getting alimony, and he's getting child support. He's going to be looked down on versus saying he's right. He's in the right to take care of the child if he has the child, because she took herself out of, if that's the norm, that a woman keeps the child, but now he has the job. So how is he a chump if he has the child and he has to take care of the child and she's the breadwinner?
He's not.
I think that men are supposed to be protectors, providers. I think even for
Answer the question. Answer the question, though.
Answer the question. Or a man, I feel as though if you both have brought something to that relationship, neither of you should be asking the other one for anything. That should be equated equally. But
so you believe that women shouldn't get alimony?
No, I don't think. I wish they would get rid of alimony. I wish they would get rid of it altogether for both sexes.
Amen.
To be quite honest, because I'm an individual who paid a man alimony.
Oh, so I see where this comes from.
Baller.
And I don't, and I don't think that was right at all.
I see you, Tosh, bowling.
But I don't think it was right. Also, in that courtroom, that other individual looked a whole lot whiter than me. So I think it was a racist decision at that too, because they made just as much as I did.
Just as much or more?
Just as much as I did.
So you made more?
I made I'm not even gonna put my money out there, but I made a bit more. But we were both taking care of the kids and whatnot. It was done just like women might do it too. It was done to be facetious.
I can understand that, but to go to my
question, can I say this? If a man is the one with the child,
that's
and if the man is the one taking care of the child,
that's the question I asked.
Yes, that person, that man, should definitely be able to receive child support for the child. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, that woman that has the child would definitely take that man to court for child support.
And I think
that's just
individually for every person, every
it should be situation. Yeah, it should be that way. It should be on an individual basis of how child support is given and who
Because
should
I know
actually have
even
to
for men,
pay
when they go to
child support.
courts are not. I don't consider courts to be fair. I don't think they are looking at
That
the best interest of children and whatnot, on who they need to be placed with or should be placed with. That's my opinion and experience.
and I get that part, but we have to we I mean at the end of the day we have to be realistic. And the realistic thing is a woman will take a man to court for child support in a heartbeat. And it but if a man does it, he is talked about. He is and
I think
he's
I would
you
have
know
to
he's
say
called names and things like that. But there is really, if you think about it, there is really no difference except the fact that it's a man taking care of a child versus a
like I
woman taking
know
care of a child.
I remember that celebrity, I think it was Kevin, oh God, Kevin, whatever, I forgot his name. He was in Robin Hood and some other show. It was a new one that was on TV, and the lady was taking him to court. He had already had a settlement of $1 million for her. She wanted more. I thought that was ridiculous. You got your money, leave him alone. He 40. She wanted like $50 million more. That was ridiculous. Why you need $50 million to take care of two grown kids that you're both taking care of?
Exactly, but the thing
And the
about
kids
it
weren't with
is
her.
that
The kids were with
but
her.
the thing
She
about it is
wanted
in
more. I mean,
society,
but that's not. I didn't think that was right at all.
but in society today is looked down upon if a man receives child support. It looks down upon if a man is receiving spousal support. All of that is looked down upon, but it's
That's
not looked down
society.
upon if the woman, if women do it. It's
Right.
like, yeah, get him for everything. If a woman does it, it's, oh, get him for everything that he got. Take his ass to the cleaners,
But you know
which
why they do
is
that is
which is
that's
unfair.
being that's it is. It's unfair. That right there is somebody who is doing it to be vengeful. They're not doing it for the right reasons.
Well, we all know that part, but that's just the way society look at it. Even if you go on social media and you look at certain things and you see, okay, like for instance, like right now in this moment, you have Candy Burris and Todd. They're about to go through their divorce, and everybody's talking about, yeah, that's right, Candy. I'm happy you got your prenup because you made sure that shit was ironclad and da 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 da. And now it's a thing where everybody praising her for her prenup because she don't have to, because they feel as though, oh, she's not gonna have to give her husband nothing because she does have a lot of, she's well off,
Probably contest.
but she also, they have to split whatever they yeah, but they have to split whatever they made and whatever businesses they created within their within their marriage. So she's going to have to give him something, but yet she's asking him for $100 million in spousal support, knowing that she it has a higher, she's the breadwinner
So
because she has more money than he does. But yet she's asking him for $100 in spousal support, which is freaking crazy to me.
That is crazy.
Because that's just like whatever he's gonna get from the businesses, you taking it right back in spousal support.
No.
So it's like, okay, well, fuck him. He just gonna have to figure it out. And a woman makes off the winner, and then that's not fair either. So you have to be fair about it. If you want to talk about equal and you got to be fair around the whole table.
There's no
It's not
such
about
thing as being fair. There's no such thing. That's in fairy tales.
Well, let's say not one sided. Let's say not one sided.
But then you can't get mad.
Why not?
You can't because you can't sit up here and say, oh yeah, girl, go get him for everything he got, and then when the shit backfire on you. But listen, but when it backfires, I'm talking about in a whole, in general. If it backfires on you, and then you have to sit around there, and now you have to be the one to pay that money. Now he don't need the money. He's this, that, he everything in the damn book. But yet it was okay for you to try to clear him out.
Right, because society.
But now that
societal
think those are the
norms from the
individuals,
beginning of
though.
time, societal norms have set the standard that men are the stronger species. So a man is supposed to be all right. Even if a woman wipes him out, he's supposed to be all right. But he's not supposed to rely on a woman. That's the same way as you look at men, or how people talk about men who live at home with women and eating up the kids' snacks and drinking the kids' son. These things are considered, these things are, that person, that man is considered less than. He needs to get his life together, but yet it's still a woman can sit at home
That's true.
and do the same thing and to be acceptable because the man is the breadwinner. Same way as a
Mhm.
man on hard times, a man can give the a man can fall on hard times, and but if he's driving around in his woman's car or he's driving around in his ex-girl's car, it's a problem. But if a woman is driving around in her man's car or her ex-dude's car because her car broke down, it's accepted. Everything is accepted on the other side. It's not going to be a mirror image, because men from the jump has been expected to have their stuff together. And when they don't have their stuff together, they're least respected. I'm coming from a place of knowledge. I'm coming from a place of experience. My experience has been, as my dad was the home provider. My mom was the breadwinner. And even growing up watching how he maneuvered the men, even in churches and other places, he was less respected because he was not the breadwinner, because he was at home taking care of the kids. He was doing those things. He couldn't even go. There were certain conversations he couldn't even be a part of,
Mm.
because if you don't live up to that, if you don't live up to what the status norm is, then you don't apply to the conversation. So
Mhm.
Just to go off of what you're saying, I think it's speaking to the double standard. Because I hear you say on one side, from the beginning of time, right? From the beginning of time. Now, the thing that I agree with Kyra on is, if you're a traditional person, if you're a traditional household, and that's the thing, that's your normal, I agree. But if you won, like she's saying, that you're okay with one side getting A, B, C, D, all of those different things. If you're okay with that, and you champion equality, and we all should be equal, and then you should also, if that's what you're championing, if that's what you feel, then you also should feel equal on the other side, not just when it's convenient for you. Now, if you're talking a traditional household, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree. But if you're voicing your whole life on, now everything is thrown out of the window and we're all equal, but you only want equality when it's convenient for you, that's what I don't agree with. And that's why I agree with Kyra on this one, because I don't agree with her a whole lot because she be tripping. But I agree with her on this, because you'll have those certain people that say that, they're strong on this side, and they want this, and this. But then when it's reversed on them, because we've seen that happen with Safari, right? We've seen
Yeah.
that happen with Safari. Same thing happened with him.
Who's
The
the
same thing happened with Mary J. Blige. You
Of the
know,
hip hop.
What are you talking about
the
now?
same thing happened with Mary J. Blige. Where you're the breadwinner and you want to be looked at in traditionally men's spaces, you want to be looked at as equal, but you maybe only want it to be financially, creativity, and power, all of these different things. But you don't want the backlash of it, because a lot come with that. There's men that got ambushed for their money, insanely in the past. To whereas I remember Robert, I think his name is Robert Johnson, who owned BET. He was a billionaire. The next year, He had 500 million and his wife had 500 million because they got divorced and they gave her half of his money. You know, whatever, you know, of course you can, you know, look it up. Don't quote me 100%, but you get what I'm saying. But if you're a woman that want to be looked at in those spaces the same way, and you want the same things, that other stuff comes along with it too. You don't get to just open up the can of worms, take your worms out, and put the top back on the can. You got to take everything that comes along with that as well. So if you're the breadwinner,
I don't think women want that though. I think some women
some, not all, some. There is some women.
But I think some women, we go into emergency mode. Like you have to become the breadwinner, but you really want that husband to be the protector, the provider.
I hear you,
and then
and
you
I
go
agree.
into this mode, and then you forget. Wait a minute, this was emergency mode. I ain't supposed to be on this mode forever.
But some don't go into emergency mode. Some are just they're in the field that they're in. They, you know, they have the employment that they have, and they chose the man that they have. Right? They chose this man. This is the man that you chose. You love and honor this man. You have babies by this man. He was with this man for 10, 15, 20 years. And through the whole time, this man showed you exactly who he is. Now you're in this place and he wants some of your money.
But you know what? See, that's a whole other show y'all should do too. Because things change. Like 10, 15, 20, things change.
Of course things change.
Each other. And I think it's just a cycle of life. I don't know if one person is for one person. I mean, that goes into other, you know.
We're going into polygamy now. I like it.
You know what? Polygamy, y'all should do one on that. Because
they did already.
Or non-ethical monogamy, I think it's called. That's the other word for it.
I don't like non-ethical. I like just polygamy.
That's what it's called. Ethical non-monogamy is what it's called.
Well, I agree with what she's saying though. You have some that champion equality only when it's convenient for them.
No.
Yeah.
If I had it my way, it would. I would not be a breadwinner. I would not be.
I mean, I feel like depending on the household, and it definitely depends on your household. I don't think a lot of women would prefer to be the breadwinner. I think a lot of women want to be taken care of, but that's not that's not a reality in this world. Women have to now become the breadwinners because you have single parent households. Those kids got to be taken care of. Bills got to be paid. You living in survival mode. That's what
the men are there, but that's another show.
You do have men that are there and that take care. And anybody who know me know I'm not a believer in child support. I've never been a believer in child support. I think child support only should be given to those people that person is absolutely, whether it's a man or it's a female, is an absent, which is an absentee that has an absentee parent. So I think that's what child support should be for.
Child support was made for women who didn't work at all. The husbands let them go. They had no money, and then they had no type of financial means. That's why it was developed for those type of women. But the times have changed now, and so should the rules of child support, because it doesn't. There's only a small amount of people that would exist for.
Well, being one that was in that system, just to speak to it, that's a totally different show, because that system is corrupt in itself.
It definitely is.
And just being one, I'll speak to my truth. You know, I paid over $300,000 in child support. My child support ended this year. You know, and I went and got my printout, and I paid over $300,000 in child support. Depending on what, you know, I got like kids with two different women. And how that money was divvied out, I don't know. How much registration fees was taken, and how much the state took, I don't know. They never said, "Hey, I got this much of this check. I got this much of this check." I mean, but along with that, me as a man picking them up every week, to take them out, to Chuck E. Cheese and take them to Great Adventures, and we want sneakers. And my son was 16 years old with a dirt bike, because he wanted to be a motocross rider. And I went and said, you know what, you want to be that? I'm gonna go ahead and buy you a dirt bike, and we're gonna go ahead and work that out. So no matter what child support I paid, there was also an obligation financially within my visitation. Because when I pick them up, I got to take care of them as well. You know what I mean? So now that 300,000 probably went to 500,000. So me being in a court system, I saw things a little different as well. Because a lot of people say, and I'm not in agreement with a lot of that. They're like, oh, I want to see where the money going to. No, the children needs a roof over their head. They need to eat. You know what I mean? So I totally believe if your child support lands on Friday and that woman have to buy food for your children all through the week, and when she get that child support check, that replenishes her account or some of her account, that she done spent throughout the course of a week or a month.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hear that when I don't know.
What's that? Hold on, wait, what's that?
No, I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying.
That's
But
logic.
there's a difference from replenishing and now you're resupplying. So to replenish or you get
What do you mean? I gotta hear this one.
so to replenish means I spent $1,200 to feed my children, right?
Yeah, throughout the
Now,
course of time.
right. So that's a reimbursement, right? Okay. Child
Yes,
support,
I like that. Yeah.
I got that back. Okay, I'm good. When we talking about people who child support is they're getting $1,200 per kid. That's more than a replenishment. You over here, you are getting fat off the system.
Oh yeah, I understand that. I was speaking to my truth. I was speaking to my truth. Of course, these people that's getting $35,000 a month, and 20,000 a month. Yeah, I get that. I understand. My child support wasn't that much. I mean, but at the same time, I understand if one of them, because my child support landed every 2 weeks. It lands on how you get paid. So
Right.
my child support landed every 2 weeks. So within that 2 weeks frame, she had to take, they had to take care of these kids. So she may have to, they may have to spend money on certain things. And they'll call me and say, hey, well, one of them will call me, hey, I need, a couple dollars or this, that, and the third. But if they done, they done spent, the bulk of their money on whatever, and then as soon as my child support land, now they can take care of certain things that they want to take care of personally. I never tripped on that. If they went and got their nails done or their hair done, I didn't trip on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that 2 weeks they may have had to spend money, on things that they needed to spend money on. So I
Yeah.
understood that.
Um, I'm gonna say this. I think we kind of went over our hour just a little bit, but I am gonna say this much, and then y'all can put y'all final quotes, and then we can go on about our night. But I think that Miss Andrew exists because misogyny exists. Misogyny exists because Miss Andrew exists. It is because I feel as though something in every individual, something has happened. A woman undid something to a man has done something to a woman, and now it's a bashing contest. It doesn't have to be that way because the everybody is an individual, and people, things that happen to you, your experiences that have happened to you, doesn't reflect on all men. It doesn't reflect on all women. It only reflects within the individuals that you had that experience with. And then we get onto social media and we get onto these blogs and we go do our tweets and we just push all of that negativity out into the world. And people that have kind of been through the same experiences latch on to it. And now it's a whole culture thing and it's a whole thing now. And this is just what the world's come to. When people, and it's nothing but bitterness. It's not women against men and men against women. If we work together, it would be better for everybody. It's not a tug of war game. We don't have to be out here talking about men like they ain't shit, and men don't got to be out here talking about women like they ain't shit. Is that individual that you had that experience with? They ain't shit. They ain't shit. Period. You ain't shit. But that does not to me that I ain't shit and Sean ain't shit and Tasha ain't shit. No, everybody is different. And that's how we should need to start treating everybody as the individual that they are. Not, don't loop me up in a group of people because I'm not part of that group. And that's all I got to say. Does anybody else have anything to say before we discontinue?
You know I do. And it's twofold. Twofold. No, I just wanted to say on the aspect of misandry, just speaking on it because we all know what misogyny is. We all seen the conversation is about misogyny, but a lot of focus hasn't been on misandry in our lifetime. I think that it's time that we address the hatred towards men. Not, of course, it's the same as you got bad plumbers and firemen and policemen and men and women and whoever, you got good ones. You know what I mean? So I'm not speaking to just, the bad men. I'm speaking to the good men. We can protect the good men. We can protect the men that's out there, doing a thing for us, as the deacon said, in society. Um, we can speak to the progression and the positivity of men. Um, we can address those ills online when we seeing men ain't shit and men this that and the third, because I remember a time to where there was a lot of men or some men stating that women are bitchs, and the one thing that I will always see is not all women, or you need to watch your mouth and such and such and such. But when we say men ain't shit, I don't see that same protection. So the same way that we want to be paid the same way that we want the same opportunities, we need to protect each other the same as well. The same way that you have men run to a woman that's in distress, I think women should run to a man that's in distress. When you got, this 5'2" woman sitting there pointing and yelling at him in a man's face, punching him, and knowing that this man gotta just put his hands up. Where's our sisters at? Where's our aunts at? To say, hey, keep your hands to yourself. Because that man deserves the same dignity and respect as a woman that's in distress, getting hit and battered and beaten. We seen in the dollar store where a woman dragged a man around by his dreadlocks. Dragged that man around by his dreadlocks. And nobody came to that man's aid. They just recorded. So the same way that, we want the equality on the side of, if it being financial and, physically as a woman, it has to be the same way on the side of men. I said it was twofold. The second fold is, y'all know how I am as far as me being an amazing dude and super handsome guy, 6'6", chocolate, whatever. Why are the comments is always in my face over here? Like, you just blocking off my whole face.
I didn't do that.
Like, I'm just, every time I look at myself, I'm like, man, this guy's so handsome. Where's all of these words cutting off my face? But that's a joke. Yeah, no, I am egotistical. But I just wanted to say that the same way that we're dealing with equality financially and emotionally and physically, for women, I think that we should also look at the protection of men the same way. That's all.
I agree. Finally, we agree on something. Tasha, you got anything to say before we get a doodle out of here?
Good night.
Deacon, you got anything to say?
We can't change the past, but we can definitely affect our futures by raising up this next generation to respect the contributions both sides bring to the table. Um, but that has to start with us. We have to start recognizing and respecting what our counterparts bring to the table. Um, this is a team sport. Um, we need to dismiss this whole breadwinner nonsense and understand that when we both are working to a goal, we both win. So it's not about one person winning over the next person. It's about us achieving our goals together as a collective unit. Because when we work together to achieve our goals as collective, not only do we win, but our generation wins, our children win. We have to change our mindset. We doing all this transactional movement back and forth and worrying about who's doing this and who's doing this and what you brought and what I brought. When if we just throw it in the pot, everybody can eat.
Absolutely. And on that note, we thank everybody for tuning in to Candid Conversations. We appreciate your presence. We hope that you have a wonderful, beautiful, thankful, and blessed Thanksgiving. We will see y'all next Tuesday, same time, same place, with another interesting conversation.
Let's get
God
back to
bless.
family.
Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.
Nice.
Are we gonna have a different outro?